Hi, if we can be seated, we are about to start the next session of the SDG Media Zone, live streaming at the UN General Assembly in New York. My name is Sharon Booch, and I work in the UN Department of Public Information. I am very pleased to introduce the next session. It's how critical is the role of the private sector in achieving the SDGs. We have here Ms. Lise Kingo, who is the CEO and Executive Director of the UN Global Compact. She will lead a discussion as well as introduce the speakers who are here. Thank you, Ms. Kingo.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here today. And before I introduce my esteemed members of the panel today, I just want to remind you all that the UN Global Compact is the UN's engagement forum for business. We have more than 10,000 business participants across the world engaged in the 10 principles relating to the environment, labor, anti-corruption, and human rights. And these days, we are very busy creating awareness and action around the Sustainable Development Goals. So last night, we had the great pleasure of announcing our second class of SDG Pioneers, which is a group of 10 people that we appoint for their special leadership and entrepreneurship in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals every year. So we appointed 10 new SDG pioneers yesterday evening after our summit, and we have 3 of them with us here today. So I would like to first introduce to you Teresa Jennings, Joseph Thompson, and Tanya Constantino, that are all here with us today to give us some more insights in how it is to drive the global goals when you work for a company and how you become an SDG pioneer. So, Tanya, let me start by asking our first question to you, which is what fueled your interest in pioneering the SDGs, and why do you think it matters?
Well, thanks for the opportunity, first of all, and I'm very glad to be selected as a pioneer for the SDGs. Well, it started kind of natural because Schneider Electric is a long-term partners of Global Compact, and we have embedded in our business all principles we have in our partnership. We also started many years ago the WEP deployment, Women Empowerment Principles, and He4She. We are signatories of He4She at global, worldwide. And I'm in charge of South America, so I started to build those programs there. So the first SDG that was pretty much engaged was the ODS, or as you call in Portuguese, Spanish, or SDG 5. But when you see Schneider Electric business, we address 12 out of 17 SDGs. So we are a company that are providing energy management, access to energy. We are making our customers, that could be industry, infrastructure, building, or residential, more efficient. And we are helping them and our supply chain as well to reduce their CO2 footprint. So we impact directly in the climate, we impact in the industrialization, in the justice or fair labor. So we are all, in our core business, we are engaged with most of the SDGs. But we developed a business that we call access to energy. And you know that we have in the world more than 1 billion people without access to energy and almost 1 billion people without access to clean water and food. And we decided to build solutions for supporting this group. In South America, we are talking about 30 million, 35 million people. So I embraced those initiatives, and we start to deploy projects of access to energy and access to clean water in remote villages. At the same time, we build a program of qualification, technical qualification, to have sustainable economical development. So we are addressing several initiatives, and I was very much engaged on most of them, and personally I led several projects in my region. I'm very proud of it.
Tanya, thank you very much. I think it's great with these concrete examples to share with everybody what a difference business is making on the ground. I mean, this is not words, this is real actions that makes a difference for people in various parts of the world.
Absolutely.
So Joseph, I want to come to you now because you are in a quite different business. So I want to hear what was your motivation?
Again, thank you for the opportunity to be nominated as a pioneer. I'm truly privileged. My motivation, why we started this, happened in 2009 in the Sahara Desert, believe it or not. I ran an event in the Sahara Desert, which was 150 miles, and I raised money for charity. I donated the money to a charity, and the money went missing. So I always thought, how could I solve this problem? And then fast forward to 2014, when blockchain technology was becoming quite popular, and I was actually working in a bank at the time, and seeing that innovation in the bank is not the same as innovation in the developing world. So I said, if we can use blockchain technology to have traceability on the flow of funds, aid, welfare, and so on. And then in December 2015, we carried out the world's first delivery of international aid with Syrian refugees in Lebanon. And we were able to trace every single cent of the international aid. And we encountered corruption and fraud within the first 2 hours. And we stopped that happening, which was pretty fantastic. And then we knew that this technology could be absolutely game-changing, because nobody can rectify transactions, you eliminate fraud. So we decided to develop a platform for NGOs and for charities to actually distribute aid directly, so it's better targeting. And SDG 16.9 says everybody should have a legal identity by 2030. So we decided if we can give everybody a legal identity, and that identity is, it's like a common space where they can get access to welfare, education, financial inclusion, and it's directly to a person, so they can actually build a credit profile on this new technology, which nobody can take away from them. So that was really how it started. By mistake, I should be honest, but it's there.
Great, great. And thank you for giving us such concrete examples of how new technology, breakthrough technology, is crucial in actually meeting the Sustainable Development Goals.
We're just adding one more thing. We're actually working closely with your counterparts in UNDP. So we're working on a project in Serbia. We got sign-off from the Serbian Prime Minister, and we're bringing remittances fees down by about 600%. And we're also doing the world's largest welfare delivery project in Jordan using blockchain technology, again with UNDP, who have been incredibly supportive. So kudos to them.
Great. And at the UN, we see ourselves as one big family, supporting each other in helping to get these goals out there across the world. So, Teresa, let me move to you now, because we have heard about the energy sector, we have heard about the new high-tech technologies, but you are working in a law firm. So what has been your motivation?
Well, actually, LexisNexis supports law firms because we're a private business that provides information to law firms, governments, and others. And we have a corporate mission to advance the rule of law around the world. And my passion began several years ago when we decided to look at the laws across the United States on human trafficking. And we helped develop a model act on the prevention of and remedies for human trafficking. And I used my weekends and my nights to analyze all the 50 states' laws, compare them to the model act, and bring that information to 23 state attorneys general. That grew to using the state AGs to bring in the Global Compact. So when the UN Global Compact put together the Business for Rule of Law principles and then the framework, we brought it back to them and launched it there to 21 different AGs. And so that's where the passion began. It was looking at what concrete steps I could do today to advance the Business for Rule of Law and the SDG principles.
Thank you so much. So we have heard from 3 very different business sectors, what motivated you, how you got started, how you became SDG pioneers. So let's just end this panel with a very quick statement from each of you on what you think will be the major challenge in involving even more businesses in the SDGs.
From me, I would say most see it in corporate social responsibility. We need to move it into strategy. And we have the LexisNexis Rule of Law Impact Tracker that shows when rule of law goes up, life expectancy goes up, GDP goes up, child mortality goes down, and homicides go down. They need to see it as the bridge to building their business.
What I would say is I think the SDGs need to be marketed to businesses as a massive financial opportunity, because if you have a billion people problem and it's $1 trillion industry and governments are funding this, it's an absolute no-brainer from my point of view for businesses to be involved. I'm purely talking about the economics, because you need to sell the economics for organizations to be involved. Then you'll take it super seriously.
Thanks, Joseph.
First, I believe we have to increase awareness because the SDGs are very inside the people related to sustainability. And I then agree with Teresa, if you don't put sustainability as the core of your strategy and you don't link to your business objectives, we will not move. It will be a kind of existentialism. So to be professional, to be part of the business, we have to integrate. But we need now to increase awareness, so I think this could be the whole of the pioneers, and we have to engage the academia, because they can replicate and educate the young people, like we have a lot here. Those guys will make the difference in the future. So we need more young people engaged, the future leaders.
Thank you very much to all the three of you. I hope we have given our audience a very good idea of how busy we are in making global goals local business at the UN Global Compact. Thank you. Thank you.